So, distractions inside your car. They include passenger and pets, right? So, anytime you're talking to a friend or looking in that rearview mirror to make eye contact with a friend or looking over your shoulder to talk to a friend, all these things take your attention away from the task of driving. Same thing with your pets. Now, pets, of course, you need to make sure that you have them in a pet carrier. You do not want your pet sitting on your lap or walking around the car. If you care about your pet as much as a family member, you would make sure that they're safe. And another distraction you may come across is music. A lot of times, when you're getting in your car and you want to listen to a particular type of song or a particular type of music, the best thing to do is go ahead and set up your playlist prior to actually getting in the vehicle and driving. A lot of students and a lot of people out there, they have access to their phone or their MP3 player, and it's going through their Bluetooth on their stereo, and all of a sudden they don't like a song or they want to listen to something different. They grab their phone and they start messing with the music icon and trying to go through all their albums and list of artists and everything else, trying to find that song that they actually want to listen to. That right there is going to keep your eyes off the road. If you're not looking at the road, then anything that happens during that time you're not looking, you're not going to be able to react to it. Your reaction time, it gets extended considerably. And if that's the case, then you may easily find yourself getting into an accident. It could be somebody jetting out in front of the road and you hitting them. It could be another vehicle braking suddenly because of some type of hazard that popped out in front of them. If you're not paying attention, you're going to find yourself hitting or getting into an accident, and it's going to cause a lot of damage and it's going to cause a lot of harm to you. So you want to make sure that whatever music you're listening to, if you are listening to music, make sure you have that playlist ready to go prior to actually driving the vehicle. Cell phones. Now, cell phones, of course, just like music, cell phones has everything on there. We got text message, we got phone calls, we got email, we got all types of stuff. And of course, in a world where we're always going 100 miles per hour, you want to make sure that when you're driving, go ahead and put that phone on silent. Go ahead and put that phone, or even turn it off. That would be even better. Turn it off, put it in your glove compartment, don't even focus on it, leave it alone, and focus at the task at hand, which is driving. You would not believe the horrible accidents that have taken place out there because somebody's trying to look at an email or somebody's trying to text message somebody that they're getting a text message from, and they're not paying attention to the road, and it causes a horrible accident and ruins their entire life or even takes their life. And of course, it happens more often with teens. Right, so it happens more often in terms of drunk driving. So if you the leading cause of death while driving used to be driving while intoxicated. Now it's distractions, texting while driving. So you want to make sure that you want to stay safe, so that way you can enjoy life and live to a ripe old age, and not actually get involved in an accident by texting while driving. So make sure you have that phone off, put it away, don't be distracted by it. I know it's very tempting to have it on or to look at it and to do things, Instagram, Facebook, live feed, things like that. All of those things you shouldn't be doing while you're driving. Okay, focus on the task at hand. Food and beverages. I'm a big guy. I love to eat, and of course, Whataburger is one of my favorite places to go. And when I go through that drive-through and I'm sitting in the car and I'm heading home, it's so tempting to just grab the soda and start drinking it, grab some fries out of the bag and start eating them. But at the same time, if you take your hand off that wheel to do other things, you're less likely to respond to a sudden hazard that may pop out in front of you. So you want to always have two hands on the wheel. You don't want to be distracted by eating. And of course, if you try to use two hands while you're eating, you have a food in one hand and a drink in another, well, then nobody's holding the wheel and you're trying to use your knee or something else. And trust me, that is a very dangerous situation to be in. You don't want to be in that kind of predicament. So go ahead and just put the food down, let it be there. When you get home, you'll have everything ready for you when you eat, and you'll be a lot safer, trust me. Grooming. Grooming does happen, so people trying to run late for work, they're brushing their hair, they're putting on makeup. You may see guys with their electric razors trying to shave real quick before going into the office. All of these things you'll see out there on the road, especially in the morning and when heading to work. So when you see these things, they're looking in the mirror, they're looking at themselves, they're not looking at the road. And in those situations, if they're not looking at the road, then they're more likely to get into an accident. So you got to be careful. So if you are that person that's kind of running late, or you have a tendency to run late, start adjusting your life in other ways. Go to bed earlier, get up earlier, make that extra time in order to get ready for work. Do not groom while driving, because trust me, you're not going to be able to look your best while driving, and at the same time you're not going to be able to drive your best. So might as well go ahead and save that for when you're at home. Other things, you'll find that in your book, other distractions you may see out there inside your vehicle. But let's go ahead and move on to distractions outside the car. Okay, now this is spring break time. Many of you may have went to the beach. You'll notice a lot of kids in their cars making a lot of noise, trying to be a distraction themselves, and it's easy to get caught up in seeing things on the side of the road or what other people are doing, and not necessarily what's in front of you or what's behind you or what's around you in terms of driving. So you got to be very careful when you're distracted by things outside your car. So seeing unusual sights, construction zones, when you see a lot of workers walking around, or you see a lot of big tractor trailers and things like that, that's part of the construction crew, it may catch your attention, but at the same time you got to focus on the road because you don't want to hit any of the construction crew that are out there. Then of course other traffic, if you see another car that's pretty cool, a Porsche or a Lamborghini or a Maserati, or something that you really like to see and you don't see often, may grab your attention. And then also, things like rubbernecking. So if there's an auto accident and there's a lot of police there, an ambulance and fire truck, a lot of times people are trying to look to see if they see that white sheet or dead body or how bad the wreckage is. Don't try to focus on that. Focus on the road. Focus on the task at hand, which is driving. That way you don't find yourself getting into an accident near the accident that you're trying to look at. And then, of course, other things that may be a distraction outside the car, things like sunsets, beautiful scenery. Once you start driving out towards West Texas into New Mexico, Colorado, Arizona, trust me, the scenery is breathtaking. If it's something that's really, really good and really, really beautiful, go ahead and pull that car off to the side of the road, look at a scenic point where you could actually take those photos and pictures and enjoy the scenery and enjoy that moment. But don't do it while you're driving. Focus on the road, focus on the task at hand. Don't be distracted. Okay. Alertness. This, of course, goes back to your book. Different types of alertness. Now, when we stay alert while driving, there's a lot of things that we got to focus on, right? So we have a lot of divided attention. So what you want to do is you don't want to focus on one thing too long. Don't find yourself just kind of staring at the back of the car in front of you, or getting into that highway hypnosis where you just kind of start to daydream and zone out because everything you're seeing is just constantly the same and you're getting bored in the task of driving. So continue to move that focus around. That's why SIPDE is so important. You're constantly searching, you're constantly identifying. So if you're actively engaged in SIPDE, then you'll be able to stay focused within your attention span. Even though your attention's divided, you're still focused at the task at hand of driving. Okay, so only focus on a few things at a time. Don't focus on things too long. Be able to scan to different areas and identify multiple hazards. Multitasking, it's part of divided attention, but it's part of the driving task. You got a lot of things going on while you're driving. Everything from your speed to your to things around you, hazards that you may have to confront and predict and decide and execute. So driving requires focus on several things at once. Don't daydream if the driving gets too boring. And of course, moving from one task to the next keeps you attentive. We're going to go through this real quick. That way you have some information about distracted driving. So which of the following distractions is most likely to cause a young driver to crash? A, lack of driving experience. B, other young passengers. C, lack of familiarity with the vehicle they are driving. D, poor vehicle maintenance. Now, of course, all of these could be problems while driving, but at the same time, which one is a distraction? That would be B, other young passengers. Number 2, the biggest issue with using cell phones while driving is A, holding the phone while steering. B, mental distraction. C, having to view the cell phone display. Or D, ringing the cell phone. So the biggest issue with using cell phones while driving is basically having to view the cell phone display, okay? And it's also a mental distraction, but if you actually look at the display of the cell phone, are you looking at the road? You're not looking at the road. So anytime you're not looking at the road, anything could happen and you're not going to be prepared for it. 3, collisions involving cell phones are twice as likely to be A, side-on collisions, B, rear-end collisions, C, head-on collisions, D, low-speed collisions. Most cases it would be a rear-end collision because you are basically not looking in front of you and the car in front of you brakes suddenly, and then all of a sudden you're going to go ahead and hit that person from behind. But of course, right here, C, head-on collision, that is by far the most deadliest crash you can be in. And if you basically are looking at your cell phone and you drift into oncoming traffic, head-on collision is a very big possibility. Okay, so you don't want to get involved in that. You want to make sure you're focused on the road. All right, number 4, sadness distracts you from driving by A, raising your motivation. Obviously it doesn't. B, increasing your concern for other drivers. Sadness doesn't usually do that for me. C, disconnecting you from reality. And D, causing you to cry. So in ways it actually distracts your driving is C, disconnecting you from reality. A lot of times when you're thinking about other things in the task of driving, then it's that you're thinking about, not the reality that's in front of you, which is driving task. 5, you have identified the driver ahead of you as being distracted. You should A, attempt to get the driver's attention. B, maintain a safe following distance. C, pass the driver as soon as possible to get away from the danger. D, pull over and wait for the driver to move away from you. You want to go ahead and try to get as much distance from that person as possible. Maintain a safe following distance. If you see that they're distracted, it happens all the time. It may be briefly. How long their distraction is based up to that person, but go ahead and maintain a safe following distance. But that's true in every situation. You always want to maintain a safe following distance, but of course if you see something that could potentially be a hazard, go ahead and give yourself more distance between you and that driver. Number 6, if you react blank slower because of a distraction, the chance of a crash can double. A quarter second, 1 second, half seconds, 2 seconds. All right. If you react a quarter second lower because of a distraction, the chance of a crash can double, right? Because reaction time is a second and a half, right? A quarter second or even a half second is enough to increase that chance of getting into an auto accident. Number 7, the best time to address distractions that can affect driving is A, while driving, B, before driving begins, C, at the end of the trip, and D, none of the above. And of course the answer would be B. Before you drive, go ahead and get all those distractions that you may have to worry about while driving. Go ahead and take care of them then. Turn off your cell phone, create a playlist of things that you know you're going to listen to and you're not going to change the channel on, and make sure that, the people in the car are not going to be a distraction. You don't want your friends doing things that would possibly get your eyes and mind off the road. 8, wandering, disconnected thoughts while you're driving are usually a sign of A, physical exertion, B, lack of sleep, C, mental exertion, or D, lack of oxygen. Okay? Usually it can be a lack of sleep and mental exertion. You could be mentally tired, but also at the same time, you could also be lacking sleep, which of course affects your mental state regardless. So, number 9, which of these is not a useful guideline to help control your emotions? A, plan ahead. B, accept everybody to obey the rules. C, don't drive after an argument. Or D, leave yourself extra time to travel. So which is not a useful guideline? B, you can't control other people, so expecting everybody to obey the rules is not going to happen. When you get out there on the road, you're going to see people break the rules all the time. You're going to see them weaving in and out of traffic. You're going to see them speed. You're going to see them not use their blinker. You're going to see them tailgate. You're going to see a lot of people do a lot of things that they shouldn't be doing, and therefore that could be an issue that can affect your emotions, but it's not a guideline that would help you. So don't expect everybody to follow the rules, but expect yourself to follow the rules. 10, which of the following are distractions inside the vehicle? A, passengers and pets. B, music. C, food, beverages, and smoking. Or D, all the above. Obviously, all the above. When is the best time to familiarize yourself with your vehicle controls? A, while driving. B, stopped at a traffic light. C, on the interstate. Or D, before driving during your pre-drive protocol. Yeah, you want to take care of everything in the pre-drive protocol. You want to look at your dash, make sure any signals or signs that are on, everything is working perfectly. You don't want to have to deal with those issues while you're driving. So go ahead and pay attention while you're getting ready to drive in your pre-drive protocol, and I guarantee you'll be a lot safer. Number 12, when is the best time to text message in a vehicle? A, while driving. B, stopped at a traffic light. C, on the interstate. D, pulled over on the side of the road. D, pulled over on the side of the road. I'd even take it a step further. D, pulled over into a parking lot. that's the best time, because even on the side of the road, things can go wrong because you're near traffic, right? So if you really want to be in a safe place, go ahead and pull off completely into a parking lot. That way you go ahead and do all the text messaging you need to do. 13, which of the following is an example of an external vehicle distraction? A, passenger conversations. B, collision scenes, construction zones, and wild animals. C, a ringing cell phone. D, the GPS system. Obviously, it's going to be outside the vehicle, so that would be collision scenes, construction zones, and wild animals. Is it ever a good idea to eat while driving? A, yes, when you are late for work. B, yes, when stopped at a traffic light. C, never pull over to a safe location and enjoy your meal. Or D, yes, but make sure to drive slowly. Yeah, eating while driving is not a good idea, so go ahead and just C, pull over and eat at a safe location. 15, how should you react to peer pressure? Okay, what is peer pressure? First of all, peer pressure is basically the people that you surround yourself with and the influence that they have on you. So basically, if they want you to do something that you may feel uncomfortable doing, and they start to pressure you in terms of trying to goad you into making that decision, that is what we call peer pressure. Okay, so how should you react to that peer pressure? A, agree with the majority of your passengers. What if they're making a bad decision? You don't want to agree with that. B, listen to the oldest passenger in the car. Yeah, with age comes wisdom, but at the same time, that oldest person, maybe only a few months older, are still pretty young themselves. C, decide beforehand what your driving standards are and stick with them, and do not let peers pressure you into changing them. Or D, none of the above. C would be best, right? So you have your morals, you have your values, you know the rules, and you're going to stick by them. It doesn't matter what other people say, no matter how fun they may think it is. Safety is always important, so always stick by your guns. 16, what is the best method to transport pets? A, lock them in the trunk. I wouldn't do that. B, bringing someone along to control the pet. Yeah, that's just as bad as letting them roam around. C, transport the pet using a carrying case or a special seatbelt. Or D, B, and C. Okay, best method by far would be C. Okay, B and C. B, bringing someone along to control the pet, it needs to be secure. You know, a person holding on to the pet is not enough. So a transport carrier or a special seatbelt will do more than what another person can do. So what is the best? Obviously C. All right, so that pretty much concludes distracted driving.